Hello, everyone, and welcome to the live recording of the Work It podcast here at Ngee Ann Polytechnic. My name is Tiffany, and this is my co-host, Gerald.
Hi, everyone.
Now, we are the podcast hosts of this particular show where we talk about everything career-related from, for mid-career people and also for people who are just graduating. Anything you want to know about work, we are there for you.
Yeah, anything about work, anything about careers.
Yeah, and in front of us, we actually have a group of Ngee Ann Polytechnic students who are about to embark on their internships at some point, and also they are also praying that by the time they graduate, they will be able to score a job. So hey guys, give a wave.
Hi.
Hey, wow, so okay, you're very serious. Enjoy yourself, okay? Well, Gerald, for our audience on YouTube, let's
Yes.
give them an idea of who we are, because I don't think people really know who we are.
Maybe they hear our voices, but
yes.
maybe not so much of seeing us on camera.
Not
as
so much,
Not
yeah.
as much, right? So a quick introduction of myself. My name is Gerald. I'm actually a career counselor with Avoda People Solutions. So I don't do media work full time. This is just a gig that I do with Tiffany and this Work It podcast. And I think it's been like so good to hear all these questions that are coming in every week when we dive into a new topic, right?
Yeah.
Right. It's so exciting to be just discussing with our guests about all these different things about career.
So Gerald is like my career guru, and I think he's also a bit like a career agony of sorts for our listeners. I, on the other hand, I'm a journalist, and I've been a journalist for almost 2 decades. A bit old, but it's okay. Sounds a bit old, but I'm not. I'm very young at heart, one. But you know what I bring to this podcast is my very curious, I very no holds barred nature, where I just love to ask people questions. I take all the questions that people talk about, at their chats, whether is it at the pantry or in their kitchens, their dining table, and then they talk to themselves, and they will ask themselves like, hey, my workplace is a little bit toxic. What should I do? So I take all these questions and like to ask our guests.
Yeah. So for Tiffany, she gets all these good questions, right? So she's got a very good eye to pick up what could be something that people are thinking about.
Yeah, but because I wear my journalist hat, I can ask any question that I want, and then at the end of the day, I just say, I'm just doing it for my job.
Yes, and then I get to have fun with like unpacking those questions.
Yeah,
right?
I just turn to him lah. I say, Gerald, then he has to answer.
Yeah, so a bit paitan, a bit difficult to earn this money lah. But it's been really, really fun because we learn from every question, right? I think we've done in total how many episodes?
50 episodes?
50 plus episodes, quite a lot.
Quite a lot, yeah.
We covered so many different topics, right?
Yeah, but one question that people always ask me off camera or away from our recording is, how do we both meet? How did we both come to do this?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think I get that a lot more because my circle is not from media lah. So they're wondering, how did you end up on my feed all the time, right?
Yes.
And did I change
We're
jobs?
not friends, right? Before this.
Yep.
Let's state on record. I mean, we're friends now.
Yeah.
I don't want to say we're not. I mean, work friends. Yeah. But we weren't friends before we started this podcast.
Yes. So I think we first met in last year, right?
Yes.
Last year we did one recording.
2 years ago, I think.
2 years ago,
yeah.
on one recording, and then I think you asked me to stay back for a while.
Yes.
And
so you were a guest on another podcast.
Yes.
And I felt that, hey, there's something about this guy who gives very realistic advice.
Okay, so
about work.
When she asked me to stay back, I was like, what's going on? Like I think
did I do something wrong?
Yeah, did I do something wrong? Am I going to get cancelled or something,
Yeah.
right? But she said, hey, we're going to refresh the show a little bit, and we're looking for someone to be a co-host on this podcast, and would I be interested? And I was like, 1,000 questions in my mind, right? Like, I'm not trained for this. I don't have the skill sets for this. This is totally out of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
Right. I'm more used to talking to people one-on-one.
Yeah.
Right.
And then I, on the other hand, I was like worried because I was worried that we don't have chemistry. Yeah. I think a podcast, I guess, lives and dies by the chemistry of the co-host, right? So of the two hosts. So I was a little bit worried that, maybe, what if we don't you don't pass my vibe check lah, basically.
Yeah. So I don't know what that means. I don't know what vibe check means, to be honest. Yeah.
I know, guys. I know what vibe check means. Yeah. So I was a bit worried that we won't have that chemistry. But when I asked Gerald, like, would you want to come on and co-host this with me? You said yes, which I think it's actually quite. This is a point about work as well, which is you don't exactly always have to have the skills, the exact skills. Check all the boxes before you say yes to a job, right?
Yeah.
Which you didn't. You felt you didn't have the you didn't check all the boxes that I was asking you to do.
Yeah, in life sometimes opportunities just land, and then at that point you can second guess yourself. Can I do it? Am I qualified enough? Why would they choose me? But I just felt like taking that question back to Tiffany to ask her, if I'm doing this with you, right, then what is the outcome that you want to get?
Yeah.
And I think we started connecting from that point, right? She wanted to build a community. She wanted to build a connection with the listeners. It's not just to produce content, but it's to really bring the voices of people out and then have a discussion so that everyone can benefit. And I thought that, wow, okay, at the heart of what I'm doing, career counseling, that sounds similar. So I said yes, yeah.
And also, I think what was important is that about maybe the 3-month mark, you actually asked me for a feedback session, like a check-in.
Yeah.
I was a bit surprised, to be honest.
Why that? Why surprise?
Because I don't know if I needed to be honest with my feedback.
Okay.
But you were like, just give it to me. Just tell me, whether I'm doing it right, whether I'm doing it wrong. And we actually sat down and had a very honest, session about what I could do better and what you could do better.
Yes,
I think that was something I learned about you.
Yes.
That, in a job, it's good to always ask feedback. But at the same time, I guess I was also always wondering, if you ask for feedback, does it also sound like as if you are not good at your job? And then you're always asking people, hey, help me, kind of thing.
So it can kind of go both ways, right? Like when you ask for feedback, you give the impression that you're actually not confident and not so good. But in my case, it was like, I felt I needed to do better. And I needed to hear someone else who's more professional, who's more experienced in doing this, to tell me like where can I improve. And I'm glad that you actually gave me the legit advice rather than give me something politically correct.
Yeah.
Because sometimes feedback can just seem very superficial, and it's not really very helpful. So Tiffany she's a good supervisor. So she
No. I'm still learning. I mean, I'm not trying to humble brag here, but it's true. Like I was still trying to figure things out, and I think doing this podcast has really helped me because I can actually learn from all the experts that we have brought on, to this show. They sharpen the way I see certain things as well. Some of the very preconceived notions I have about workplace relationships, they challenge that as well. So that is all very helpful, and also teach me how to manage my bosses.
So
behind the camera.
So it's very strange, right? Like every time when we have this conversation, and after that we always off camera we'll talk about how this is even relevant to the workplaces that we know about, right? So it's really very realistic, the things that we are discussing. So far in our partnership, more than 50 episodes, right? We've covered different topics like job search, workplace wellness, skills and career planning, and the big one, how do you manage your colleagues, your bosses, the people that you make life difficult for you at the workplaces.
Or not. I mean, some of them are like allies as well. They do help you, right?
So has there been a favorite episode for you?
Yeah, so there's one particular episode where we talked about what to put in your resumes, because I always thought that your resume should be quite templated, just throw everything inside. But what our guest said was that don't put your contact details in the header, because if you put your contact details in the header, the AI part of it, where some HR would use the application tracking system, they would see as the application is not complete because you put your contact details inside the header. So that, to me, that was something that I've learned after so many years of sending out resumes. Maybe that's why I didn't get called back.
Yeah, so it's little things like this that our guests bring to us, right? That makes a difference. And we hope that this actually resonates and helps all our listeners to do better, maybe correct some of the things that they are doing, because a lot of them will say, I didn't know this. I didn't know there's a filtering software for my resume at all.
Was there a particular episode that was memorable for you?
So for me, there was one about a story about this retrenched person who has a baby coming on like just a week after he was retrenched. So it's a very sad story, but in that recording, I remember Luke, right?
Yes.
Luke,
he was so positive.
Yeah, and he said, like, don't be angry with the boss.
The person
who let you go.
Retrenched you,
Yeah, because you don't want to carry that forward into your next job. And I thought that's fantastic advice. I think what also made it even better, even sweeter, was after the pod, Luke actually had several job leads.
Yes.
Right. So the pod helped him to capture the attention of people, and he had several interviews lined up. So wow, this is like a good outcome after listening to our pod.
Yeah, I mean, it also made me feel that like, okay, we have like kind of impact as well, right?
Yes.
Yeah, but I think today we want to delve into another topic which is very, very important. The idea of whether, how do you crush your internships and also score a full-time job after. I think the job market, as we have said in like our so many episodes, is very competitive. It's not easy, right? And I think a lot of our students here in front of our live crowd here, they're also wondering how do they, exactly be able to get a full-time job right after you graduate? I'm sure that's something that's been on your mind. A lot of them also do part-time jobs now, right?
Yeah. So both of us, we used to be interns, and we scored full-time employment with our companies after that.
Yeah.
So I think
We are the A-star intern.
okay lah. I think we have something to share with you guys.
Yeah. We hope so. We hope to be able to share with you. But also, don't just take it from us. We actually have a guest who's coming on later. She will be also sharing from her point of view. She's worked with companies who match up with interns and jobs as well. So let's get ready to dive in and get some tips. We are ready to start the discussion. Hello and welcome to the live recording of the Work It podcast. My name is Tiffany and this is my co-host, Gerald.
Hi.
It's actually our first time hosting a live show, so thank you so much for joining us on the CNA YouTube channel. If this is your first time listening or watching us, we are actually a weekly podcast that goes out every Monday, and also at the same time we have a Ask Me Anything segment where people send to us their questions, their career-related questions. We can be found on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, Me Listen, and YouTube, wherever you get your podcast from.
Yeah, so today is a little bit different. You are seeing us in person, and we're not alone, right? In front of us, we have a group of students from Ngee Ann Polytechnic, right? So we are going to involve all of you here, the students here, into today's podcast, because the topic today is about internships, something that is very close to your heart. So let me just do a quick poll here. How many of you here have had at least one experience with internship? Can you show your hands?
Internship or maybe part-time work?
Or part-time work, part-time work. All right.
Okay.
So some of you here, you have already encountered the working world. So all right. And how many of you are planning to work part-time or maybe do an internship soon, maybe the next month? Okay, some of you as well.
Okay.
Very good.
And so I just want thumbs up, thumbs down. So far, the work experience that you have had, good, thumbs up, bad, thumbs down. Oh, middle. Oh, there's some people who give the middle.
Okay, so got middle.
Okay,
we see a mix of middle.
some
Thumbs down. All right. Some up and down like this. Okay,
Okay.
You get it?
I think that's understandable because actually the working world can be a little bit scary, right? I mean, I understand. I understand all of you. But I think it's a good chance for you to discover what you're good at, what you are, maybe what you would like to work towards, and how you want to build the career of your dreams. Yeah, so I think with that, we want to try and invite our guests as well.
We have someone who's been waiting, and the person's waiting to come in to be...
She's raring to go.
Yes, she's raring to go. Right, this is Zhi Hui. She's the co-founder of Skilio. Skilio is a startup all about helping students find and ace their internships across local and global marketplaces. So welcome, Zhi Hui.
Hello, Zhi Hui.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me.
So Zhi Hui, since we are talking about internships here, quick information about you here. How many internships have you done in the past?
Personally, I've been to two.
Okay.
Two
different companies?
Two different internships. One locally and one in Israel.
Okay.
Overseas.
So interesting
okay.
place. Two internships.
Okay. I have done two internships, but with the same company, CNA.
All right, okay.
What about you?
For me, I've done 3 in total, and all in different places. I used to do a lot of internships as a programmer. I'm totally not doing that today.
Yeah,
So it's
clearly
very, very different path for me.
Yeah. Well, so I mean, like some of them, I guess they are also wondering, what exactly, would be, how competitive would the market be, I guess, if they are going to look for an internship. You match interns to jobs. How competitive would you say that market is currently right now?
Yeah, so we match interns both locally and in the region. And I would say competition is a constant, right? I think there will always be more applicants than the number of roles that are available.
Okay.
Right? But eventually, I think everybody can find a role that might suit them, right? So if you would ask me how competitive it is, I would say yes, it is, right? But I think with the right skill set, right, with the right branding and positioning, I'm sure you can find something that fits you. Yeah. So I believe this is something that a lot of the students are worried about. But don't worry, because I think it's a concern that it is a constant in the region, right? Be
Yeah.
in Singapore or overseas.
So it's also very competitive overseas as well, you're saying?
Yes,
Okay, so
it
some of
is.
them might be considering an overseas internship. So
Mm-hmm.
that could be something that, they're also, I guess the competition, the pool of competition they have is like a lot bigger than here in Singapore, right?
How I see it is two ways. It could be that there's more competition because there are more applicants from overseas. But how I see it as well is that you can also look beyond Singapore for opportunities. Right?
Oh,
And I
okay.
think as a young person, it's important to not just have working experience in one country, but if you are able to diversify the location of where you have worked before, that would be one of your unique selling proposition.
So Zhi Hui, I have a question for you. So in today's context, right, when students want to look for an internship, what kind of effort must they put in to find an internship? Is it just go to their school and find, what do they have to do?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I just did my research last week because we were giving a workshop to students. And we realized that it takes actually an average of 3 to 4 hours to just prepare a customized, tailored resume for one role that you're applying for.
Can you use ChatGPT?
You can. I think that is a good start now that you have it. But on average, it still takes a couple of hours to put in a good application. Right? And we wouldn't recommend you to mass apply. Right? We would recommend you to put in effort into each application. So in terms of time, that is the number of hours. But that's not all. Right? How I see it really is the work that you have to do even before you apply to decide if this is a role that fits you, if this is a role that fits into your longer term career plan.
What do you have to do before? Now you say it's not just the resume, but there are things that you must do before the resume.
Yeah, a lot of people think that passion is, it's a cause of the things that you try, right? Meaning, because you're passionate of something, about something, you try a lot of things. But I like to revise that a little bit. I think passion is usually a result of the things that you have tried, right? So I think a lot of young people feel that, okay, I need to know what I'm interested in first and I decide what to try. But I like to reverse that a bit. Right? Are you able to try certain things to find out what your passion is, right? So how I see it really as a young person, especially as an intern, right? It is a lot of experimentation, a lot of trying, and that comes before the application, right? Trying does not have to come in the form of actual professional experience. It could be a side project, right? It could be maybe a personal production project that you have done.
Or part-time jobs, like
Yeah,
many of them
part-time
here.
job.
Yeah.
It could be a school module that you have done in Polytechnic, right? These are things that signal to you what are some of the things that you are good at doing, what are some of the things that you're not so good at doing, what are some of the things that makes you happy, right? Time passes really fast when you do that. What are some of the things that you don't really like, you find quite tedious, right? I think these are the data points that you should collect even before you start applying for actual professional experiences. Now in school, there are so many avenues for you to do that, right? And after that, I think that's when you can narrow down and select opportunities that match you.
If I am an intern, right, and then I'm doing an internship, the question I always have at the back of my head is, will I pass this internship with flying colours? I mean, you've gotten feedback from companies as well. What are they saying are some of the qualities that they will see in like their best intern?
So the green flags, right? I think
the green flags, not the red flags. I mean,
yeah, the green flags are from the most basic to a bit more high level, right? So I think the first very basic thing is communication, and I think over communicating is always the best. Not just in work, actually, right? You will do that actually with your parents, for example, right? With anyone around you. So communication is important, especially if it's a remote or a hybrid role. I think a lot of employers, they don't like it when there's that unpredictability in terms of when they can catch you, right, or when they can get updates of your work. So one very basic practice would be to update the employer on your task progress, right? What difficulties you are facing, whether you feel like you're on time to meet a certain deliverable, right? Or asking the employers if you have any questions even, right? If that's stopping you from completing a task on time.
But can there be too many updates though? Like, I mean, I'm just imagining if I'm the boss and, every, I don't know, like I get like
Every
5
task.
updates.
Yeah.
Yeah, every task, like, oh, I'm doing this right now, I'm doing that. Like, we're not talking about that minute a detail, right?
Yeah, my suggestion would be once every 1 to 2 days, consolidate the updates, right? And give it to your employer at the end of the day to let them know what you've been working on. I think it's perfectly okay to mention that you have challenges,
Okay.
right? Include that in your update as well. I think it's perfectly okay to mention that you haven't finished it yet, right? But if you're able to tell the employer, okay, maybe I need another 2 to 3 days to complete it, right? That will give them at least that certainty or the assurance that you are working on it. I think that leads me to my next point. I think updates is one, but the second one is having ownership over the task that you're given. Imagine that you are the business owner, right? Imagine that you own this company and stand in the shoes of your boss or your supervisor, right? Then you are able to look a bit more big picture to understand what has to be done. What can you do to make everyone's lives easier?
Okay.
Right? As an intern, I think that's important because it helps you understand the context that you are operating in. And only with that context, right, then you are able to understand what needs to get done. And we are done with something or you're facing challenges, you'll find a way to problem solve. And I think that's something that our star interns, they constantly exhibit, right? And at the interview stage, right, if you're able to show proof that in the past you were doing that before, right, I think that will be very credible. It will be a good brand to put across.
I like that. I like that point about imagining that you are the boss of the company because there's more at stake, right? You know, you're going to, you know, if somebody doesn't do the job, you're going to lose money. So it's a very good advice. I
think I look at it as what Zhi Hui is saying. It can be kind of wrapped up with this word initiative, right? Right. Having the initiative to communicate, to know, to give updates, to know what you are lacking or what you are needing more of, and then also to have initiative to think about this as like your own project, your own business. I think businesses want employees to think like that, not just interns. They want all employees to think like that. So this is when you start an internship, you can display this initiative, right? I think it will really put you on par with employees.
Like that, and they will consider you for the full-time job as well. They will start thinking, actually, you know, I like this intern. They are showing that they would, would be able to perform as a full-time employee. So my next question is it easy to convert from an intern to a full-time employee? Like, what is that conversion rate like? I mean, are we looking at like most interns get converted? Half?
I think less than half actually.
Less than half.
So to answer the question, not that easy. And it's interesting because a lot of our interns, they want conversions, right, for very obvious reasons. And our employers, they also prefer to convert interns. It makes sense for them because after they convert the intern, they will not have to onboard or train another person from scratch, right? So it's not that I think the employers are being very picky about converting the interns, but I think they only convert those who are worthy and deserving of that.
I think now is a good time to obviously open the floor to our students here. If you have I won't say burning, but if you have a question that you would like to ask us, you have Gerald, the career counselor, and then you have Zhi Hui over here. I will try my best to help. No guarantees. But yes, anybody with a question, maybe over there first. Please stand up and tell us your name and then your question.
Hi, I'm Dakota, and I want to ask, do you get to choose what you want to do for internships?
Okay. Do you get to choose what you want to do for an internship? Okay.
Okay, that's an interesting question. You do get to choose. And you should get to choose, right? Because you understand yourself the best, right? So I think a very good starting point, like I mentioned, would be to find avenues to figure out what is it that excites you, what is it that you do well in. And I think that can be done in school, right? Even before you choose what you want to do. So as you choose, right, choose wisely, choose intentionally. You don't have to choose a role that you fulfill 100% of the skill requirements, right? Definitely you have to fulfill some, right? But these are the skills that you should have to a certain extent, but also skills you want to learn. Right? And I think these are things that you should articulate in the interview, right? Maybe for 80% of the skills you have them, talk about the proof, right? And talk about how you have exhibited them in your past experiences. But for the 20% of the skills that you choose that you want to learn, talk about it as well, right? So mention that these are the 20% of skills that I want to learn. And I have been putting in some effort to learn already, right? These are the things that I've been doing in school, outside of school, and I hope to continue picking that up in your role. Yeah, so that would be my advice.
So I have a follow-up question to yours, which is if you sign up for a particular role with this particular company, but the job isn't what you sign up for, what happened? Like, what are you going to tell? How do you have the conversation with the boss, right? That this is not the role I signed up for.
Quite interestingly, it happens quite a lot.
I'm sure it happens a lot.
Yeah, it happens a lot. Why does it happen a lot? I feel it's because a lot of job descriptions are evolving so fast that certain job descriptions don't even exist when the hiring happens, right? Because things are changing, right? With AI and with new requirements that the industry has, it's changing, right? And it doesn't make sense for employer to hire all over again, right? It might be wiser to repurpose a current manpower to do something that comes up, right? So I think that's understandable. Right? But as an individual, you should also understand like what was asked just now. You should be able to choose, right? So I think the first thing is to understand first, is this still something that you want to learn, or is aligned to what you might want to learn, right? Because it is a high chance that this new or different job scope might be complementary to your role and the industry that you are in. It might be so crucial that you will need it anyway, right, in your next role. But in the event that you feel like it's something that you don't want to do, right, something that maybe you feel it's not aligned to what you want or not what you expected.
Flag it up early?
Yeah, could you flag it out?
Okay.
Could you have a conversation with the employer? And that also goes back to my previous our tip about understanding the bigger context. Because if you understand what the company does or what the organization does, could you propose ways that you could help maybe other departments or do something that is related but not exactly what was assigned to you,
Okay.
and still keep the job, right?
Okay, yeah, because it's important to keep the job.
Yeah, keep the job. So I think
Nobody's saying they don't want.
That would
Okay.
be helpful.
Okay. And we had a question from
question,
over
yeah.
there as well.
Yeah, hello. I'm Horan, Year 1 Film Sound Video student. With the increasing use of social media and the rapid advancement of AI, we begin to see a lot of young people starting their own brand, like branded drop shipping on TikTok, which leads me to wonder, maybe 10 years down the road, would it be more viable to work a 9-to-5 job, or would it be easier to do your own brand? Because right now with AI, you just need like $1 to start your own Shopify account, and AI will do the rest to set up the shop for you.
Yeah.
So
okay.
which leads me to wonder, like people our age or maybe some older than us, would we rely more on this to make a stable income, or will we go back to traditional 9-to-5 with an employer
Okay,
instead?
that's a good question. Like, I mean, at the end of the day, do you want to work for somebody or work for yourself?
Yeah.
Right.
I think that's a really good perspective, because the
He's thinking of the future. I
yeah,
like that.
Yeah, and also the truth is today it takes very little to start a business.
Yeah.
Right? It takes very little to start a business. Whether you succeed or not is another thing.
Yes.
All right? But it takes very little. And I think one point here that is mentioned is the viability. Right? The way I would
Okay,
look at
explain viability
Yeah,
to
correct.
a 5-year-old me.
yeah. So to me, right, are we just looking for a job that pays?
Okay.
Let's say I start a business and then just providing me salary and a sustainability, and I'm secured,
Okay.
right? Or is it better to work for somebody out there that pays me, but there's very little security, right? So I think that's the question that we are trying to explore, right, about the security part. Well, if you look at it from a business perspective, sometimes business will fail, right? There may be some risks. There are a lot of entrepreneurs. Most entrepreneurs don't make it, right? So there is also that big chance. But of course, if you make it, then good for you, right? But most of us will end up working in companies, and then we will have the risk of being retrenched, and the cycles of retrenchment is always going to be faster.
Yeah.
It's always going to be faster. So I think when we look at it, it's not either or. I don't see it as either or. I see it as what we have to do to make sure that either way, we have viability. And that viability is really in ourselves.
Yeah. I would say, Harun, my advice would be, while you are still studying, go and try to do the 9-to-5 stuff while you are still studying. You get a sense of whether this is the culture that you really like. Do you really like the 9-to-5? Because some people like it. Some people will say that at least it allows me after 5 o'clock, I can go and date, I can go and like watch movies or whatever. But nothing is stopping you from setting up your business now. Yeah, I mean, Zhi Hui, you also set up your business early. She started her business, when she was in university. So, yeah, I hope that our advice, is helpful to you, something for you to consider. Okay, anybody else with another question? Yes, you over there. I'll get you to stand up so I can see you.
Hi, I'm Maeve. I'm also a year one film sound video student, and I'm interested in doing an overseas internship. So my question would be, what is the best way to score an overseas internship?
All right.
Zhi Hui, over to you.
Yeah, that's a good question. One of my favorite questions, because I think we help a lot of students secure cross-border job opportunities. And I think one very important thing that is different, right, from a local application is showing that you can navigate that cultural nuance and that cultural difference in your past experiences. Yeah, so it's always about proof, right? Always about showing whether you have past evidence of doing something like that. It may be your first overseas internship or your first overseas job, but it may not be your first time traveling, right? It may not be your first time engaging in an exchange program. So use those non-academic experiences to showcase that you have that interest to engage in different cultures, why you think it's important, right? Why are you even applying for overseas internship? Talk about the rationale behind doing that, right? And if you're able to show that across, right, I think that's really cool. Yeah, that would be really cool. I think the other thing would be also to look at the difference between where you are and where you want to apply to, right? Think about what is it that you want to value add, right? How are you different and how your experiences can help that company reach the next milestone, right? But also acknowledge that there are things that you want to learn, right, from that country, right? So you show that it's a two-way exchange, and I'm sure, right, they will want to take you in, mentor you, and give you a good experience there.
Yeah. Anybody else with any other question? Yes. We'll pass the mic over to you.
My name's Clarice. I have a friend who's currently interning right now. I wanted to ask, how, because she keeps getting called back to have overtime, OT. How do you tactfully maneuver around? Because you still want to show that you're hardworking.
Yeah, but then there's no boundaries.
The healthy boundary.
Okay, good question. I think a lot of interns will be interested to,
You have interns as well. So,
I have
how
interns.
would you deal with this?
Let's bring my intern. No. So I think it's okay. So I think it starts with setting clear and healthy boundaries. So, okay, assuming you have a boss who doesn't have healthy boundaries, because I think if we assume that your boss has healthy boundaries, this won't happen. But if your boss doesn't have a healthy boundary, then I think it's good to set the expectation early in the day. So I was talking to a friend recently, and then she gave this very good advice. She said if she knows she has a lot of things to do for that day, and chances are she might have to work overtime, early on in the morning, she would tell the boss, look, okay, I have these things on my plate that I have to accomplish today. I don't think I will be able to finish maybe all 5 tasks. So help me by telling me what is something that I can remove from my plate. Then I can finish it on time. Because which one is the most, basically you're asking the boss, which one is the most important thing for you? Because I think the thing with overtime is a slippery slope. Once you say yes a bit too many times, then you will never be able to have that conversation again. Another thing I would say also is that sometimes you can casually mention that, hey boss, I did I worked extra time on Tuesday. Do you mind if I can, start later today or tomorrow, or end earlier tomorrow? So give your boss at least some lee room to plan for you as well. I mean, is that the advice that you guys? Am I giving out sound advice?
Yeah, you are.
Okay.
You are precisely right. If all the bosses think like you, then very easy, very good.
I'm
really.
the healthy boss.
Yes. But I think if today the boundaries become really very difficult to draw and it's eating into wellness. For example, I've heard of interns who have to work 7 days, and on weekdays they have to work up to 2 a.m. Right? That kind of work culture it's too punishing even for full-timers. So if that's the case, then I would suggest, bring up to the school, bring up to the supervisors in the school to say that something's happening here, it shouldn't be like this. Yeah, so I think it's important for interns to know where to turn to if today something goes wrong. It can be for a wide variety of reasons. When things don't go according to plan, just know that you can reach out to your supervisor. Find somebody from the school to mediate, to find out what's happening in this situation.
Yeah, yeah. So I hope you will be able to, hang out with your friend soon. Hopefully, if your friend is listening in, or watching this, you can let her know this is our advice. Okay. Anyone else? Anyone else who has a question? Yes.
Hello, I'm Jairus. I'm a year 1 film sound video student also. I want to ask what is like the skills that is going to be very important in the future in workplaces and also now?
Zhi Hui, maybe Zhi Hui start first. I
Yeah,
think Zhi Hui
okay.
knows because she speaks to the companies.
Many skills actually. I'll just touch on the soft skills first because I think for technical skills, it really depends on the kind of role that you're looking at. The first skill is adaptability. I think hands down that's the top skill that a lot of employers will look for when it comes to especially early career, right? Early career because like I mentioned, there are a lot of job descriptions that don't yet exist, right? And when they hire, right, it's also to look at how agile you are to learn, how agile you are to fail fast and learn fast, right? So I think people with adaptability, they do not prioritize perfection, right? But they prioritize being able to pick up certain things fast, understand where you went wrong, and take it from there. Yeah, so I think school has taught us to fear failure quite a lot, right? But I think that's perfectly fine. If you reduce the impact of failure, learn from it, and move forward, I think that's really good. Yeah, the second one that I want to touch on is being proactive. So it's just now what we mentioned as well, taking initiative to suggest solutions, to find resources to solve the problems that you find in the workplace, right? I think identifying the problems and areas for improvement is one thing, but if you're able to suggest ways to improve, right, take ownership of that, solve it on your own, pick up, learn, and take ownership of it like it's your own business, that would be great. Yeah, so I think this is the two from me.
Yeah, I think when we are looking at skills of the future, like what Zhi Hui was mentioning, a lot of jobs are not going to be in the future are not here yet. So you wouldn't know the skills. So what should we be prioritizing? Competence. What should be more important than competence is collaboration, right? The ability to know how to find solutions, work with people to figure things out, right? The ability to find out what your boss needs and then have the initiative to build the skills up for yourself. I think those are important things.
Yeah.
Competence is something very easy to learn. You can take a course to build up the skill set. But how do you learn the soft skills? How do you have this sort of attitudes towards working? That's something that courses cannot teach you.
And these are things that are transferable. You can use for across any jobs that you apply for. Okay. Anyone else? Any more questions? Do you have any more questions? Anybody with your burning question? Yes, hi.
Wow, I've always wanted to hold one of these mics. Hi, I'm Michelle. Just now you guys discussed green flags in an intern, but what about like the red flags, the cardinal sins basically?
All right, let's get started.
You want to go?
No, I will think about it carefully because my intern is listening in.
Okay.
But okay, you guys start first.
Wow, okay.
Red flags.
Many red flags.
Many.
It's actually quite the reverse of what I mentioned. So I think the first one would be the lack of communication. And lack of communication in a sense where you assume that your supervisor knows what you're doing or where you are, right? So the number one reason for why some of our internships were terminated was because the supervisor couldn't get hold of the student for a while, right? There wasn't any updates about what's the progress of the task, right? There wasn't much, no informing, right? When the student was away on, say, a personal commitment, right? So I think that's the first reason for termination. The second one would be the passiveness of this intern, right? So
They don't put up their hands to say that they want to try something.
Yeah, like there's no initiative. I think it's just passive, being a passive recipient of certain tasks and roles and responsibilities. But I think there isn't that next step, right, as to suggesting ways that you can do things better, right? There is no, I think, call for feedback. I think we talk about feedback as well. So it's just really a doer, right, an executor, and not so much a team player, right? So I think that's also one reason why it's why a lot of internships are terminated. And I think the last one would be very basic taking ownership, right? So I think that's a lot of cases where the intern wasn't able to fulfill a certain task, right? And they take it upon others to manage that issue or that gap. Yeah, so if you are able to be a little bit more authentic, I think be honest about your failure, but also suggest ways that you want to improve or do things better. I think that would be much better. That's okay. I think supervisors appreciate the honesty, but if you do not take responsibility for it, right, and take it upon others to solve those issues for you, I think not many people would want you on their team.
I think when it comes to red flags, one of the interns, the person that the intern needs to really work very closely with is actually the supervisor. So if today the supervisor feels that there's something wrong with you and the relationship is not good, right? It's already a lot of red flags. So I think for a student, having that regular communication with the supervisor to ask for feedback, to ask for to ask for advice, right? So that you know whether you are fitting in well. Asking the supervisor to help you, I think that's very important, because from my own experiences working with students, a lot of them, they don't have good experiences because of the supervisor.
Yeah.
And the supervisor can give all sorts of reasons for the red flags, but we realize there's no relationship in the first place.
Yes.
Yeah, so I think the relationship is important.
That's right, yeah. Well, I think this has been a very, very good conversation. I mean, we are very, very thankful for all of you for giving us your questions as well. I think a lot of these questions also, stem from some of the fears and unknowns that you have. We will still be here after the live recording. If there's anything that you want to, follow up with us, please do stay with us. But also we want to thank you, Zhi Hui, for joining us on this conversation.
Thank you for having me as well.
Thank you so much for bringing your insights. We really, really appreciate it. And if you have missed the earlier part of this conversation, don't worry, we'll be uploading this soon. We're also available on Spotify, MeListen, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube, where eventually a video version of this will be at. Yeah, so let's sign out.
Yeah, so that's it. And signing off, my name is Gerald.
And I'm Tiffany. Have a lovely and good work week ahead. Bye.
Bye-bye.